My mom has this story of hiking with this forest ranger, and he was talking about cleaning up a forest after a forest fire. And my mom would hike with him every day, and he would tell her stories. And one of the stories was of he found this petrified female hawk. She had been petrified by the forest. Her wings were spread open. And when he lifted her up, there were 3 live baby hawks behind her.
Wow.
And she had sacrificed herself so that they could live.
Yeah.
And I was so struck by that, because that's maternal instinct.
Yeah.
We will do whatever to shelter our children from anything that might harm them.
Yeah.
And that just reminded me of what you were talking about with your mom. Like, she just straight was going to make it through for your sake.
Yeah, I mean, she almost lost her life because of that too.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the man that, and when you'll see in the book, what's crazy is growing up, I don't know if I knew much better, because I had love for this man, and he was abusive to my mom, but he loved me like I was his own child. He raised me. I was born James Michael Maxwell, right? So my name now is James Michael Hill. Everybody calls me Mike. His last name was Hill. He adopted me when I was 14 years old. So I took his name because my biological father wasn't around. It's a long story, but he loved me as if I was his own. Like, he never looked at me like I was his stepson. And even though he was going through or taking my mom through all this pain, I don't know if I was more mature at the time or whatever, but I would talk to him like, this is wrong, what you're doing or whatever, and trying to talk to him, because deep down inside, I saw that he had a good heart. Kids and animals loved him. To be quite honest, you can ask my mom that. He had a lot of friends or whatever, but for some reason, he was just a person who was raised a certain way, down south. Saw what his people in his family did. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to, put blame on them or whatever, but he didn't know any better. And he didn't realize what abuse was, mental or physical abuse. And he, but that's the way he felt like he could control my mom. And so I would try and talk to him, try and say, look, this is wrong, you can't do this or whatever, because I saw the love he had for me. But he was a troubled person, an alcoholic, a person who later in life I found out, committed crimes, killed people. He was a hitman. I mean, so it's like, yeah, I found that out when I came back home from the military, and I knew that he had killed somebody before, and I knew that when I was in the military, he had killed someone while I was in the military in the Philippines, and got this phone call late at night or whatever saying that, Richard has killed this guy, self-defense, whatever. He was at some woman's house and her boyfriend came or whatever. What's he doing there? My mom's, at home, whatever. And guy came and started hitting him or whatever. He pulled on. He got self-defense. Probably was not self-defense, to be honest with you, but it was a case of the police not really caring because he killed somebody they didn't care about.
Right.
In a sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's basically the bottom line what it was, if you look back on it. But despite all of that, I wanted to try and save this man because I knew deep down inside there was a soul.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I was never able to do that because when my mom left him, he went into a deep spiral, started doing drugs. It was cocaine, crack. He was always an alcoholic or whatever. And I tried to love him from afar or whatever. But when you see someone self-destructing and you're trying to better your life, sometimes it just brings you down.
Yeah.
And it's stressful on you. And I'm trying to raise my family. And I'm going through a lot of things myself. And then one day I get a call saying that from the police saying that he's we're going to lock him up because he had gotten remarried. And I know the woman that he married was a beautiful woman. Her name was Mary. I called her Mama Mary. She was a sweet lady. She loved him to death or whatever, despite his flaws or whatnot. And she tried to leave him because he was abusive to her too. And he was really jealous. And Mary was working at the church that his brother-in-law was the minister of, a big church in Bessemer, Alabama. Really popular. Everybody knows this church or whatever. And she was working there. And when she left, he was threatening her like he was threatening my mom when she left as well. And so he hired somebody to kill her. And so one day she's working at the church. The guy rolls up on a bike and says her name. She turns around on the church ground. Pow.
No.
Yeah, shot her in the head and killed her. And drove off. And then later, they catch him, of course, and he tells and says, Richard hired me to do this or whatever. And so they locked him up.